Well, good evening, everyone. Thought I'd come on here and share a few of my thoughts this evening. Welcome back to the cage. I'm just going to wait a couple of seconds or so to see if some folks come on. Give them a second to get the notification that I'm live. I hope everyone's having a good evening this evening. It's definitely been a crazy last 2 weeks, that's for sure. So I just wanted to share my thoughts tonight on some of the stuff that's been going on. I wanted to recap a couple of stories that we've heard in the past, and I wanted to give some advice for folks when it comes to the elections that we have next week. And so one of the reasons I'm doing this is because I've had several folks that have come to my page. They're new and they may not know exactly what I've been doing and how I'm just trying to help folks. I'm just a regular guy who has woke up from indoctrination from a cult. That would be the Jehovah's Witness, the Watchtower organization. And since that time, I have allowed myself to do as much research as possible and try to make sense of things that are going on in the world. So with that in mind, I want to go ahead before I get started. And for the folks that are new, I do have a show that I do with Laurel and Lori, and at times we have guests. It's called The Big Picture. I will be putting a link to the Big Picture channel in our comments after I'm done with the video, and that is over on BitChute. The reason I wanted to make sure that those were all in one place is so that we could hopefully avoid censorship, because we talk about some things that the powers to be do not want us to be talking about. And so, yeah, it's The Big Picture. We are going to come back on December 10th. We will be on the Six Screens Telenetwork. I will put out a link, and I will inform everybody when we get ready to do that. As of right now, and it could change, but I think the topic is going to be centered around the Constitution and how the Constitution has been violated by the people that are supposed to uphold it. And so we have plenty of examples that we can share with folks to show them how the Constitution has been violated. But one of the things I wanted to say is about the corruption that we see, not just in the United States, but around the world. There's a reason why we see that. It's because this deep state globalist agenda, they don't call it a globalist agenda for nothing, because this is a worldwide agenda. I mean, how are you going to get a new world order if you don't have a globalist agenda? I mean, seriously. So when we talk about deep state, when we talk about, let's say, for example, China, I put out a post last week to know the difference between the CCP and the PRC. It's kind of like here in the United States. We have a deep state and we have those that are willing to uphold the Constitution. So there's a division there. It's the same thing in China. China has a deep state. That would be the CCP, the Communist Chinese Party. And then you have the PRC, which is the People's Republic of China. So there's fighting there, between those factions. And that goes on in almost every country that the central banks are in. And when you talk about the central banks, you look at the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, it goes all the way back to that stuff and how they've infiltrated every country, pretty much every country. So when you hear people talking about, well, China did this and China did that, well, was it actually China or was it the CCP? So you got to be able to make that distinction between the two, because then folks will say, well, the United States did this. Well, was it the deep state shadow government of the United States, or was it the people of the United States? So that's what people really have got to understand, that there is a difference there. So you don't want to lump a certain country all in one category. Oh, China's bad, Russia's bad, England's bad, because there's different factions, and folks need to know that. So anyway, that was one thing I wanted to mention. The other thing I wanted to mention was disinformation and misinformation. There's going to be a lot more disinformation and misinformation that comes out over the next couple of months. It's going to happen. And I wanted to try to give you guys a way to be able to identify it and be able to know, okay, well, that's not true or that's fake. It's kind of like now, well, before they said that the difference between a conspiracy theory and the truth was about 6 months. Well, now that has gotten shorter. We're able, and when I say we, talking about the digital soldiers, the Anons, we're able to pretty much debunk a story, within 24 hours. I'm not going to go into the whole Pelosi thing right now, maybe. But as soon as that came out, I was like, yeah, something's not right with that. And you got to remember that the mainstream media, they're owned by six corporations, and they're all given talking points. And their job is to push the propaganda. They are the bullhorn for the deep state globalist agenda. And so they're going to push everything that they can that will fit their agenda. Now, I have proof of that. And I'm going to be going over this list here. I've got a list here that I wanted to share with you guys because these were stories that were put out and they were pushed to the hilt. And we got to also remember, too, that when they push stories, they're trying to divide the people. And they don't want the people actually sitting down and having conversations and looking for the true information. But every one of these points that I'm getting ready to go over real quick, they're either they've been proven wrong, false, or they were very misleading comments or stories, you could say. And so these are the people, it says in here, it says entities that peddle these narratives decide what counts as misinformation. So they want to be able to say, well, what you're saying, Mr. Jimmy, is wrong, and this is the right information, when it has been proven that they've been wrong over and over and over again. And so let's look at a couple of these. And like I said, these have all been proven to be false stories that were pushed by the media. And the information is out there. You can find the true information on this stuff. So, for example, let's see, there's probably about 20 of them here. So, these things the media pushed. Number 1, Russian collusion. Trump called neo-Nazis fine people. Jussie Smollett. Bubba Wallace garage pull. Covington kids. Governor Whitmer and the kidnapping plot. The Kavanaugh rape. The Trump P-tape. COVID lab leak was a conspiracy theory. Trump saved nuclear secrets in Mar-a-Lago. The Steele dossier. Russian bounties on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan. Trump said drinking bleach would fight COVID. Muslim travel ban. Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. Andrew Cuomo was the best COVID leadership. Trump built cages for migrant kids. Trump overfed the koi fish in Japan. Build Back Better will pay for itself. Trump tax cuts benefited only the rich. Cloth masks prevent COVID. SUV killed parade marchers. Trump used tear gas to clear a crowd for a Bible photo. Don't Say Gay was in a bill. Putin price hike. Ivermectin is a horse dewormer and not for humans. Mostly peaceful protest. And Trump overpowered Secret Service for the will of the beast. So, we have a list of stories here that the mainstream media pushed and tried to sell it as being true information. Now, why am I bringing these out? Because every one of these have been debunked. You can say what you want, but the information is out there, and I can provide that information to you. The reason I'm saying this is because there's going to be stuff that happens next week in this election that I'm very concerned with. And before I talk about that, let me tell you what my experience was. I started down this path in March of 2020 Did I know everything? Oh, hell no. Do I know everything now? Hell no. There's still going to be things that happen that surprise the heck out of me. Now, excuse me, as we went through 2020 and I was learning all this stuff, I could see that, it looked very possible and probable that Trump was going to win the election in 2020. So I'll stay away from that right now, but anyway. So everybody knew that Trump was going to win. So for the digital soldiers and the Anons and the Patriots, we got our hopes up that Trump was going to win. Then it happened to where it come out and said that Sippy Cup won. It was a gut punch. I'm going to tell you right now, when I watched the inauguration, I was just like, what in the hell is going on? And instead of getting down about it, and instead of pissing and moaning, I tried to find out why this stuff happened. And so I've gone down the roads, I've talked to some other people, and understood, oh, okay, now I see what happens. I put out a phrase on my Facebook quite a bit called, I posted, sometimes you can't tell the people, you have to show them. So, since the election of 2020, we have been telling people that election was stolen. And it actually has been shown. They started off with Rudy Giuliani and Jenna Ellis going around and getting affidavits. Then it went into court hearings. And then we had 2,000 Mules come out. Then we had, the thing that Catherine Engelbart and the other dude, can't remember his name off the top of my head, that they did. I can't remember, sorry. But they just recently did it where they actually uncovered the fact that Koenig, a Chinese company, was involved in our election process. And so we started putting all this stuff together, and the case was being built to show the people what had happened. Now, a lot of us we know how they cheat. And one of the things that they do to cheat is early voting. And this is why I'm not a proponent for early voting. Y'all know me. I put it out on my Facebook page, do not vote early. Now, I know a lot of people have. But unfortunately, it leaves it open to where they can cheat and they can manipulate those ballots. And as of right now, they are already preparing the narrative for the elections next week. Now, there's a part of me that felt like, they were going to do something to not have these elections. And that still could happen. I don't know. We got 5-6 days left. Something crazy could happen and they could try to postpone them. But we'll see what happens. But they're building a narrative right now, and if you notice, you can start to tell what they're trying to do. You got to be able to understand when they're building a narrative. So right now, we have it coming out where Biden said that we might not be able to count all the votes in one day. It could take a week or 3 weeks. That's been said. We've also had it coming out to where they're saying that if the Republicans win, then they cheated. So now they are going to become election deniers, which they were railing against that in 2020, which they were the same people that did the election denying in 2016. So November 9th, if it comes out that the Republicans win, November 9th is going to be labeled as hypocritical day, because you're going to have all these people come out and say, oh, the election was stolen. Now, there's another way to look at it, and this is the way I'm looking at it right now. The whole can't tell the people, got to show them. Well, since 2020, more people have woken up. More people have done the research and looked into what these machines do, how they manipulate the mail-in ballots, how they do different things to cheat. More people are aware of that now than in 2020. And the thing is, the deep state's just not going to give up. They're not going to say, oh, you caught us. Yeah, we did this. We stole the election. No, they're going to try to do it again. And they've already started doing that. They've had, Pennsylvania sent out some mail-in ballots and then Arizona sent some out, and I think Nevada did, and also California, but come out and it said that, oh, we made a mistake. We didn't mean to send those out. Well, they're out there now. So what are they going to do with them? And so anyway, this is what I'm thinking. And this is why I prefaced all this stuff. Do not be surprised if on election night they announce Democrats as the winners. Don't be surprised. I just have a feeling that they're going to try to do something. And if it's not on election night, it could be the 2 or 3 or a week later that they announce, oh yeah, Katie Hobbs beat Kari Lake in Arizona. Which, if you look at one of my posts, just a couple of nights ago on the Arizona news, they had a little screenshot or a graph that showed that Katie Hobbs won 53% over Kari Lake at 47%. Well, how do they know? Why was that already up? Who put that together? So they're already building the narrative. And here's my thing. It's up to 74%. Last poll I saw, and one of my buddies shared this with me, it was a 74% probability that the Republicans are going to win these elections in a red wave. So everybody's expecting the Republicans to win, just like we were expecting Trump to win in 2020. But what if it goes the other way? What will that show? What will people do? Will people just accept it? Or will they fight to push their legislators to look into things? Or what's going on in Brazil right now? For those that don't know, what's going on in Brazil is they had a runoff election between Bolsonaro and Lula. And all the polls showed that Bolsonaro was winning the election. You can look at the crowds that Bolsonaro had. They were very reminiscent of the crowds that Trump was getting. The crowds that Lula was getting were like the ones that Biden was getting. And also, too, I'm not sure if they call the different sections in Brazil states. So just for this video, I'm going to say states. So Bolsonaro won every state except one. And that was in Sao Paulo. And that is where the majority of the socialists live in that country. So he won all the other ones except that one and lost the election. Kind of like with Trump, who won 18 of 19 bellwether counties. And historically speaking, if you win those 18 of 19 bellwether counties, you've done won the election. And so it also come out that there was actually 17 million more votes in the Brazilian election than there was last time. I put that post up a little while ago too. So the people know now, maybe they were watching the United States in 2020, the people know that there was some fraud and there was some cheating going on. So what they've done is they've gone to the military and requesting the military to come in and do an audit of their election. Now, we'll see how all that plays out. But as I've said before, this is an information war and it's a military and civilian alliance. And that's how you beat the deep state. The Patriots, I guess Trump, Patriots, White Hats, whatever you want to call them, they couldn't do it all on their own. They had to wake up the people. They had to inform the people, show the people how, teach them how to research stuff, teach them how to look up stuff and find the truth. So that the people could get behind the military and be like, yeah, we need to fix some stuff here. So another thing that the deep state's going to try to do is they want to anger MAGA. They want to anger patriots. I will tell you right now, patriots, do not fall into this trap. Do not go to any protest armed or anything like that, because they're just looking for just somebody to mess up. so they can blast it all across the media. So stay smart, stay safe, stay peaceful is what the Patriots need to do, because they're going to try to piss them off, or the deep state's going to try to piss them off. And the way they do it, how they do it, let's see. Rig the elections next week. Say the Democrats won and piss off all the Republicans. Or they could also arrest Trump, which I've put that out there too, that may happen as well. That's a whole nother story. So I'm looking at next week, and I'm looking at it different than I did 2020. Because 2020, I was for sure Trump was going to be announced the winner that night. And it didn't happen. So if you're thinking that the Republican red wave is going to happen and it's going to be announced Tuesday night, don't be surprised if it's not. Now, I hope I'm completely wrong and I have to retract everything I've said in this video tonight. But just keep your heads on a swivel, because things like that could happen. And, just look at the Pelosi thing. How hard is the media and the bots and commentators trying to push the fact that this DePape guy was a MAGA Republican, or he was affiliated with Q? How hard are they pushing that? So you got to think, why are they pushing that? Which we all know that's false, and I'm not even going to get into that story because that's just bullcrap. I will say this, Miss Nancy Pelosi, why haven't you released the CCTV cameras? Why don't you show the evidence? Oh, maybe the same reason you don't want to show the 14,000 hours of evidence that was taken at the Capitol on their cameras. It's just funny. And today I heard that the Capitol Police were not viewing the cameras at the time that all this went down at Pelosi's house. It's kind of funny that there's a pattern there. The cameras on Epstein, they weren't working. The cameras at January 6th, where were they at? Oh, the cameras at Nancy Pelosi's place wasn't working. Or they weren't paying attention. You can start seeing what they do to try to cover their tracks. So, anyway, I think that's what I wanted to share with you guys tonight, just proving that everything that these people have said has been bullcrap, because they're not for the people. They're getting paid to push an agenda. And also wanted to just, maybe not warn, but advise to just keep your eyes open next Tuesday. Now, yes, get out and vote, because that is the most important thing, is to get out and vote, because the more votes that are out there, the harder it is for them to cheat. Maybe they need a week to try to count and figure out, okay, how many more votes do we need to put in here to overcome our deficit here? This is what they do. So it's going to be very interesting what happens in Brazil. Keep an eye on that. And just keep an eye on next week. And as things get worse, I think they will, before they get better, just stay peaceful. Just stay peaceful, Patriots. So, okay. So I didn't want to make this too long, but if anybody's watching that has any questions, I can see the comments here. So you can go ahead and shoot me a question if you have one, or want my opinion on something else. I'll give you a second. Thanks, Alex. I thought that was a great list. I saw that tonight, and I was like, ooh, I got to get this out there. Oh, I will say this, too. They are pushing for a civil war. All through history, the deep state has used war to cover up what they've done and what they've been doing. And that's why they're pushing things so hard. They want a civil war. They tried to do it in 2020 with the mostly peaceful protest. They tried to get the Patriots out there on the streets to fight Antifa, fight BLM, because that's what they want. That's a story they can get behind. And we don't want to give them ammunition for a story like that. So I do believe that we're not going to see a civil war. I believe that the military will step in before that happens. If for some reason martial law is put into place, I do think it won't, I don't think it'll be nationwide. I do think it will be in certain areas. The last I've heard is like 70 cities that it may happen in. And don't be alarmed if it does, because what I'm thinking is, how do you round up some of these foot soldiers, some of these criminals? You get them all in one place, you bring the military in, and you arrest them all. Now, that's just me spitballing there. We'll see how it all goes. So, thanks, Darren. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm just trying to get folks to not buy into what the media says, question everything. And even I do that. I question everything. I even question my own stances on stuff. Because if you can't question your things and be willing to change your mind on an issue, then guess what? You're indoctrinated. If somebody can show me why the way I believe is not correct, and they can do it with facts and evidence, then I can change my mind. And I don't have an ego to where I can't change my mind. And a lot of people, they buy into certain stories, or they buy into things, and they can't let it go because they used it as an identifying marker for themselves. I mean, look around. You can go out in public today, and you can see people still wearing masks, when we know damn well that it's bullcrap. They don't work. They don't do anything for a virus. But you still have people wearing them. And I look at them and I feel bad. I can't laugh at them anymore, because I just feel bad, because I'm like, wow, you are so indoctrinated that you're still buying into this. And that's sad. And no matter what you tell them, whatever facts or evidence you give them, they won't believe you, because they've bought into it. They feel like they're doing something good. I guarantee you right now, there's a lot of people that are probably wearing that mask still, thinking that everyone else that is maskless is just stupid and harming the society. Why aren't they listening? That's how they feel. So, drop your egos, be willing to change your mind, speak your voice is powerful, and do as much research as you can. Ask questions. So, I don't see anybody having any questions in the chat, so I'm just going to go ahead and end this, and I just want to say thank you for everybody that sends me videos, comments on stuff. I get sent so many videos, it's hard for me to catch up. So if I haven't responded to a video that you sent, send me a message later and say, Jimmy, you really need to watch this one. And then I will put it on my list of videos that I do need to watch. But just keep your mind open, folks, and just watch and look at events and watch for patterns, because they're out there. So, all right. Well, y'all have a great night. I'm sure as soon as I turn this off, I'll be like, damn, there was something else I wanted to say. But I'll just go ahead and post it. And if you see something on my page that you feel like is good information, share it. Because the more information we can get out, the more we can inform people and teach them how to critically think. And we all can be better for that. So anyway, so those are my thoughts tonight. I hope you guys have a great evening. If there is something that you want me to do a video on, a certain subject, shoot me a message and we'll put something together. And if it's really good, then we can actually make a big picture episode out of it. So thank you all. I hope that you have a great rest of the week. Get out and vote. Do it on election day. No matter what, get out and vote. You got to do that. And so I love you all. Take care. And we're going to get this country back. We are. I'm not stopping until we do. So y'all have a great night.